Day, August the 18th. The heat, it's moving east. Say goodbye to those warm temperatures in British Columbia, but say hello to them in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Bit of a stormy start to the week for you in Ontario, but don't worry, by the end of the work week, you'll be seeing tons of sunshine. And we'll take a look ahead at the work week, speaking of which, and we'll let you know what the conditions are going to be like. Time for your national forecast. I'm Emily Vukovic. Chris May away today. Thanks so much for joining us. We've got lots to talk about. Lots happening right across the country. Heat in the west being one major story, and it's continuing to track its way east, which is good news for those of you in Ontario, southern Quebec, and the Maritimes. Speaking of southern Quebec, not a bad weekend, and today even started off absolutely spectacular. Taking a look now at Montreal, and you can see the skies were blue, people walking to work, or biking to work, I should say, being environmentally friendly. That's always nice to see. The good news is that the temperatures are going to stay warm. The bad news is that by later on this afternoon, it is really going to cloud over, and there's a good chance you'll see some isolated, possibly even severe thunderstorms. We have a cold front that's just situated over northeastern Ontario right now. I'll show it to you. It's bringing some thunderstorms, Sudbury, North Bay, Wawa saw them earlier today, as well as Timmins and Geraldton. It's continuing to track east. So the lower Great Lakes into southern Quebec, I would say by dinner time, depending on what time you eat, late afternoon, early evening, there is a good chance for some isolated, potentially severe thunderstorms. Great day for you in Atlantic Canada. Across the west, we've got that area of high pressure. We've got that ridge in the jet stream, keeping things really warm. Warm southerly flow. It's going to be another hot day for Alberta, but could be unsettled to the north. Through the interior of British Columbia, you could be seeing fairly unsettled conditions. We've got that upper level low. You've got the surface trough in place, so there is a good chance for some thunderstorms. Isolated, non-severe in nature for the interior. And the coast, well, Vancouver Island, you're going to be okay, but Vancouver, a bit of a drizzly day for you. We're going to start off taking a look at temperatures through the east, where it's absolutely gorgeous through the Maritime provinces. You saw a little bit of rain over the weekend. Today, much better. Look at that, Newfoundland, absolutely gorgeous. 21 through St. John's. St. John, New Brunswick, also seeing a fairly decent forecast today. Enjoy it, because what's in Ontario today is going to be your story tomorrow. Here we have a severe thunderstorm watch stretching all the way from Sault Ste. Marie, North Bay, Sudbury, Ottawa, just on the cusp of that. You're kind of included. It is going to be the greater Ottawa area through the Ottawa Valley, where you could be seeing some isolated, potentially severe thunderstorms. Montreal included, Quebec City as well, and you're also included in the thunderstorm risk that has been drawn up by one of our meteorologists. So there is a good chance along the shores of Lake Ontario, starting at about Kingston, Prince Edward County, Brockville, Cornwall, Ottawa, Montreal, into Quebec City, where you could see some severe cells firing up today. It's going to be a combination of the front as well as your daytime heating, because look at your temperatures. 26 in Montreal, 30 in the greater Toronto area, and even to the south, Windsor seeing a daytime high of 29, Hamilton 29 degrees, London at 28. So a lot of the thunderstorms that will happen around the lower Great Lakes, they're going to be prefrontal, but then once that front sweeps through, cooler, drier air mass. I'll have your long-range details in just a sec. So it's going to remain fairly unsettled this afternoon to the Nickel Belt through North Bay up and towards Quebec, but northwestern Ontario, northeastern Ontario, you'll clear out nicely, which is good news. Now across the eastern prairies, northwestern Ontario, spectacular, absolutely gorgeous forecast. Through Alberta as well, if you like the heat, I'd say Calgary is a good place to be. 35 degrees, but it's actually going to feel closer to 40 with the humidity. It's going to be one of those days, and it'll cool down by about midweek. Through British Columbia, through the interior, isolated risk of seeing some non-severe thunderstorms just because of that trough that's in place. Rainy day for you in Vancouver. Victoria, you're going to see some sunshine, but you'll see rain move in with a new system tomorrow. Quick look at the north. Long-range details are next. We'll start off in the west in the evening, where it is going to remain fairly unsettled. North coast, central coast could see some showers, lower mainland. We still have that trough in play all the way up towards northern Alberta. There's a chance for some isolated thunderstorms. Still going to remain clear but gusty through the eastern prairies and northwestern Ontario. Cold front continues to track its way east through the evening. That's where you could potentially see the more severe thunderstorms popping up through southeastern Ontario and in through southern Quebec. Now, by tomorrow, the cold front will track its way through Atlantic Canada, so through the Maritimes, New Brunswick. You're in line for seeing some decent thunderstorms. Nova Scotia, mostly just a rain event for you. And Newfoundland, you'll start to see showers as that center of area of low pressure starts to reach you. Clearing out through southern Quebec and the lower Great Lakes, cooler, drier air. Temperatures are going to go back down to the low 20s for the lower Great Lakes, and even through northeastern, northwestern Ontario, things cool down. It's still going to be fairly unsettled for you throughout Alberta and southern British Columbia as a new low makes its way up from the United States and another one approaches from the Pacific. So it's going to be a fairly wet day for you on Wednesday. Pretty much north coast, central coast, lower mainland, in through the southern interior. Northern areas of the prairie provinces during the day on Wednesday and then into Thursday, it is going to remain quite unsettled, but take a look at the east. Clear conditions, lots of sun, and warm temperatures through the work week.
It's the lightest touch.
Hello, I'm Emily Vukovic. This is Weather Network News. It's Monday, August the 18th. British Columbia and the prairies are in for a major cool down, but there's one more day of hot weather ahead. So if you're doing any outdoor activities, you might want to drink plenty of fluids and stay out of the sun as much as you can. Now, it's been really hot since last week, and some long-standing records, well, they've been broken. Soyuz hit 38.6 degrees on Saturday. That's 2 degrees hotter than the old record set back in 1991. It hit 33.3 degrees in Grand Prairie, Alberta yesterday, and that's well above the 30.8 degrees recorded for the same day 17 years ago. Temperatures should be about 10 degrees cooler in BC and parts of the prairies by tomorrow. To Newfoundland, where damaging floods have hit near the community of Gambo for the second time this summer. And for the second time, the Trans-Canada Highway is closed. Engineers are inspecting the damage to the road. Local officials say there's a risk of it caving in. The town declared a state of emergency on Friday after heavy rain threatened to flood some homes. About a dozen families were displaced. They were allowed to return on Saturday. Western Cuba is getting soaked with heavy rain, and it's all because of Tropical Storm Faye. The storm is forecast to become a hurricane before hitting the Gulf Coast of Florida tomorrow. But it will sweep across the Keys before then. Some people have left, but others are preparing to ride out the storm. The Weather Channel's Mike Seidel is in Key West. He says the rain and wind should pick up tonight.
As far as the radar goes, a lot of rain to come through the Keys. We're expecting on average